I'd like to welcome everyone to the conversation where we talk about everything Cowboys. My favorite team, your favorite team, America's team. Here with your host, Coach Marv.
Cowboy Nation, how are y'all doing today, man? Victory Monday. We had a very good, successful game on Sunday. Went on the road and did what we supposed to do on the road. Makes no difference who you're playing in this league. We're seeing in this league every week we're having upsets. We're having teams that don't supposed to beat other teams that's undefeated, losing at home. Like I told you, man, it's a very fickle thing. You really don't know what's going on in the NFL. There's no teams that's really standing out because the first 5 games, the first quarter, usually you can't win a football game in the first quarter. You can't win a baseball game in the first couple of innings. You really can't win a basketball game in the first quarter. So this is the first quarter of this football season. Since there's been 17 games now, the first 5 games are a feeling out period, and we will start to see as we start getting the bye weeks. They're starting to come in from the last 12 weeks of the season, the last 3 quarters of the season, which they go 4 games now, and the quarters will go 4 games each. 5 games for the first quarter. And then you go in the second quarter, it's the next 4 games, the next quarter, third quarter, the next 4 games. And then we into the fourth quarter. And then when we get in the fourth quarter, it's a whole new game when you get into the playoff. And it all starts off with then, but the quarters then are 1 quarter at a time. And they're sudden death quarters. All of them are overtime quarters. So the last 12 games of the season, based off how the teams don't have preseason like they used to, is going to be very, very important into what's going on, man. How you doing, man? Thank you for coming in and joining me, man. Joining the chat, man. Joining the show. I know there's a lot of people on Victory Monday. They're going to be doing shows, but I wanted to stop in and we're going to talk about a couple of things, man. And as you saw my title, man, my title to this show is Very Good Victory. But we're doing some things that I like that we're doing because we're starting to build consistency in our play. And this is about how the new identity and the culture is starting to see it form. And we want to see if it continues to grow. Remember, I told you there was a building blocks to this new culture that Schottenheimer was trying to put in. And I said early on that's not an easy task. You can't just come in and say you're going to build a whole new culture of how we think and how we handle things in a short period of time. And it's still not all the way in place, but it's starting to grow in that direction. I told you that we wanted to build the 5 building blocks that I said that we need in a culture. Do y'all remember those 5 building blocks? Because like I said, when you follow me and you watch my videos, go back when you're watching this video, if you're watching this video for the first time, go back into my playlist. Because I'm putting everything in my playlist. Go back in a couple of months ago when I had the building blocks. And I talked about these building blocks to a new culture that Schottenheimer kept talking about that we need to do. There's a couple of things that I talked about in the last couple of weeks that I want to bring to your remembrance because they're starting to show. That's why when I tell you when I go through things and I have shows, these shows that I have are basically building upon each other, and we're going to reflect back to those shows because I'm going to keep repeating those things, and then we're going to reflect back to how those things are coming to fruition now, and they are coming to fruition. If you remember, if you go back in my thing, I said there were 5 building blocks to a new culture. And we're going to look at those. I'm going to show those 5, and then we're going to talk about where we at on those 5. And one of the ones I said was physicality. Now, our offense is starting to show signs of being very physical. Our offensive line is showing signs of being physical, and we're going to talk about the offensive line. Now our defense is with the younger people that we put in place. We're starting to get a little bit more physicality in our defense. And when you're building a football team, people, you can have veterans on offense because offense is a skill thing, and you get in a rhythm. You'll know how to get around, but you want to be young on the offensive line because you want to be physical, and you want to have the moxie to be physical all the time. But on defense, it's best to be young. Because on defense, you got to run and hunt. And anybody knows this. My father used to tell me, man, he said once a man can't hunt no more, he done. And once a football player on the defensive end can't hunt the ball down at a high rate and going real hard and cannot just deliver blows without hurting himself, once he gets to that point, it's time to hang the cleats up. So on defense, you keep drafting guys every year to get younger, faster, and a lot of energy. On offense, you get your building blocks, your guys, and you just put little pieces around them, but you roll with your offense, your quarterback, your running back, your wide receiver, your tight end. Most times those players stay in the team for a long period of time, and then you get some offensive linemen, they stay for a long period of time. But your defense may change out every 2 years, every 3. You always adding pieces. So the physicality part is when we added James this past week when the other linebacker got a concussion, you saw physicality from him. When you saw Wanye Thomas, you saw a faster physical presence in the back end. So what that does is it gets everybody, James Houston, it gets everybody playing physical because that young, vibrant, going at it, brains is contagious. Just like when you got a lot of older players on your defense that can't go out there and give you that bang, bang, jump out there and hit hard because now the body's kind of older. It's also contagious, and it starts to spread out. And that's what I was seeing from Malik Hooker. That's what I was seeing from maybe the linebacker. Not that he didn't have it, but he's getting a little older. He's not old, but he's slow. But he had it in certain cases, and Clark didn't have it at all. And that bleeds into everybody. But now you got younger guys that's getting their feet wet. So the physicality is coming. The run game has been consistent all year. And we're seeing guys getting knocked down in the run game. And we did this with 4 backup offensive linemen. There's not another team out here that's deeper than us in the offensive line. But physicality was one of the traits that I said that we need to have as one of the traits to a culture build. The other one was another culture build that I had, and I don't know if I left that. No, I got it right here. The second one was discipline. We've been very good with our discipline all year long because every game we had won the penalty battle. Now, this game we was a little bit on the frayed side of penalties, but I think a lot of those, couple of those roughing the passes was very questionable. But we've been very good at not losing the penalty battle. So that has come in to place. Also, when he set Diggs down, and Diggs had to come out and talk about, I didn't start. That was a very good message to the team. And it may have started paying dividends a little bit, and we might start to see the dividends that it's paying because people they understand that. So the second thing that we talked about, discipline, that cultural block is being built as we see it as well. And I like the physicality that's coming along. If we can get it from the defense, I think we're going to get it because we got younger guys that are able to go out there and bang, bang. Pause. But to really go out there and be physical. You got to be young to be physical, man. Older guys know when to be physical. Younger guys are just, they're going to make a hard tackle all the time. And you want, in a long season, it's good on defense to be young because you're chasing and you're trying to dictate. That's when building a team, you draft always on defense, you get cornerstones of offense, and you pick and choose drafting offense. You don't see the best teams draft 5 or 6 offensive players. They draft 7 to 8 defensive players, maybe 1 or 2 offensive players. You always want to keep changing that defense out. You all want to get live bodies. So discipline, the second one, we're coming along. That's 2 building blocks that we said that we talked about at the beginning. And then we talked about the third one. And I said that this one right here was the most important building block that we had to change from the previous administration. Mental toughness. I've been talking about this building block for the longest, and I said it has been a problem with us for the longest because we have not been a mentally tough football team. But the Green Bay game was a sign of us getting a little bit more mentally tough. Why? You say, Coach, why you say it was such a sign? Because we were down in that game. We had to come back in that game. And then we was down several times in the fourth quarter when we had to make a drive. We had to drive the ball. And we had to go long distance. There wasn't nothing easy given to us. Like, if you're going to drive and you get a big play and you say, oh, man, they made a mistake. You get a big play and you score. No. Everything had to be driven. You want big plays, but what that does is it makes you mentally tough as an offense to know that there's going to be times that all 11 guys got to execute at a high level, play after play after play to get to the end zone. And if you feel that and you learn how to do that, it's going to pay dividends in the bigger games. A lot of times teams get a big play and they don't know how to drive the ball. And you stop them from getting a big play, they can't do nothing. But those drives in the fourth quarter against Green Bay were pressure drives. And we learned how to execute even at adversity. Every play wasn't no big play. But that's a key to building mental toughness. And our defense had to go through some adversity. Now, the defense didn't play well, but they got to some fourth downs. But they didn't get, but that mental toughness is starting to come into this. Now, if you've been following us on the live show, on our watch party, if you if you listen to what I said when I first got on there, I don't know, I got it late because I had some church obligations. But I said when I went to the Dallas Cowboy game for the Green Bay game, as my observation of watching the game from the stands and watching the first quarter, I mentioned to my friends and the people around me when they're sitting around me, I said, it looks like our defense is playing with no confidence. And then I looked at I said yesterday and said, confidence is the key to football in sports in general. Matter of fact, confidence is the key to guys going out there trying to pull that female, women going out there trying to pull that male. You going into a job interview, going into making a business deal, going into playing football, basketball, anything that you do. Confidence is a big part of that. And confidence is a part of your mental toughness. That you're confident in you. Now, you can't get overconfident. There's a thin line between being overconfident and confident. But if you don't have no confidence, you second guess everything you do. And what I was saying about our defense against Green Bay is that I didn't see the mental toughness there because it seemed like that they were it seemed like they was confused. When people use that word confused, as a football coach, you don't want your team to be confused. You don't want your team to go into what we call shock. And let me explain to you what I mean by that. When you go in shock, when you have an accident, you go in shock. The paramedics don't like that because what that does is your body goes into a frenzy, a free fall. It can't respond because it's in shock. Well, you're a football coach and you're on defense or offense, you don't want your team to go in shock. And what that means is you don't want them to be stunned so much that they can't respond. They can't get themselves back together. And what I was seeing was a team that was playing with no confidence. And when you're playing with no confidence, it's easy when you get punched in the mouth or something big happens against you for you to go in shock. But what was impressive to it, as we start to make plays, we got out of it. Now, we didn't play great defensively, but I saw signs in Green Bay of us starting to get more confidence in what we're doing. And I saw that when we played the Jets. At the beginning, we got rattled. But when we got them to get a field goal on that first possession, I saw a confidence in our defense. And if you play with confidence, you play with speed, you play with freedom, you play with unity, you play with continuity. Everything works, and you can be able to give up a play, but you're able to self-adjust and play well. Confidence is the key in every position. And then I heard Schottenheimer today talk about Dak Prescott, and that's getting off the defense, but it illustrates what I was saying about confidence. He said Dak Prescott is playing at a high level, and he's playing at such a confident level that things don't even faze him. He's playing with a boatload of confidence. Now, he can't let that confidence get to the point of cockiness, because that's when you can get in trouble. But if he's confident, he doesn't second guess himself. He knows when to second guess himself, when not to second guess, and he knows how to self-correct himself. And it is contagious. So mental toughness is a part of confidence. And I'm starting to see our team get confidence. When you have rookies that go out there, this is a part of mental toughness as well. When you got rookies that go out there like Flournoy, the backup offensive lineman you had out there, and they start to play well and start making plays here and there, and guys start making plays and learning their roles, you start to build confidence. And a guy gets confidence in his role, that's when a team is hard to beat. That's when you don't need name brand guys. You just need guys confident in their roles. If you get that, you got something built upon. So that was the third building block. And I'm starting to see that in our mental toughness and our confidence. And then it was a fourth one. And the fourth building block I said that we need to have, it was a building block of this new culture, was coaches / leadership. When Jerry said it was a great coaching thing, well, yes, it was. It was a great coaching job because they didn't waver in believing in the guys that they put on this roster. I said this yesterday. If you make a NFL roster, you could play. If you make an NFL roster, you could play. Less than 1% of football players make an NFL roster. So when we got 53 guys on this roster, for us to say, "Oh man, they garbage," huh? If you're on this roster, you could play. And with 53 guys, you have to be ready to play. Now, are you just as good as the guy before? No. But do you have skills? Yes. And what I say about a name only comes with opportunity. There's none of these, the CeeDee Lambs, the Dak Prescotts. Listen here, no one would have known about Dak Prescott until he got an opportunity when Tony Romo got hurt. And the backup quarterback, Kellen Moore, got hurt. Opportunity, Dak made himself a name. Nobody knows the name. It's a first-round draft pick. You could be a first-round draft pick. You're going to get an opportunity because you're a first-round draft pick, but there's a lot of first-round draft picks that fail. You make your name with your opportunity. Nobody would have thought, and people kills Terrence Steele, and please believe me, Terrence Steele is playing a hell of a left right tackle. Run block is impeccable. Yeah, he might lose a rep here and there in pass blocking, but I guarantee you Dak wouldn't want nobody else. But with opportunity, he made a name. Opportunity is where you make a name. And when you build consistency in your play, that's when your name gets solidified. And then you get judged in a different light once you get a name. You get the benefit of the doubt. But I've said before, we're chasing names. But guys get opportunities, they can make a name. I hear this thing when we talk about the unknown. Anybody you get on this team that you bring from someplace else is an unknown. You don't know how that guy's going to play with your team. You don't know how that guy's going to fit in your locker room. You don't know how that guy's going to perform in the way you play. It's always unknown. Now, you may can say, well, I can give a better benefit of the doubt because of what he has done. But one thing you got to remember in football, what you have done don't mean a damn thing when that ball is snapped. I had to teach players that on a regular basis. What you did in the past, what you did last play, ain't got nothing to do when the ball is snapped this play. Last game ain't got nothing to do when the whistle blow for the next one. You cannot rest on laurels, and you can't live in the past. So it's very important that we understand, and the coaching has been good enough to get us that. Now, we may have some questions about certain things, but you got to let these coaches build their culture. There might be some growing pains in this. It may not be something you might not want to see, but we got to let them, because they got to learn their players as well. The leadership. Dak is doing great leadership. We got some good leaders on this team. Now we just got to see that keep cultivating, keep getting better. That was the fourth building block that I said that we needed. And we've been building on that. The last one, it goes back to what I said about we're starting to find that we got talent in other areas that we didn't even realize it because we're looking at names and sometimes guys ain't done nothing in the past. But we're starting to see that Florno's got some talent. We're starting to see that Tober can make a play here and there. He may not make the plays like a number one wide receiver, but we can't say he doesn't make plays. We starting to see Jake Ferguson make more plays. We're starting to see our tight ends, even though they're not getting catches, but the number 2 and number 3 tight ends, as I watch them, they're doing a hell of a job of blocking. They're finding their roles. And they're not worried about if they do something else. Their roles, we may not notice them, but they're finding their roles. And that's a good thing. That's why we're starting to find talent. Look for Elijah Clark, the guy that they brought up from the practice squad, safety, the rookie. Did a great job in preseason. Got some speed and will hit you. If Donovan Wilson goes down, I'm not worried about bringing in him and my man from the Florida A&M. I'm not worried about that. I think that we'll be okay as long as you're aggressive. So those 5 building blocks, we're starting to see them form. Then we talked about something else. Getting to the offensive line. And this is where I'm starting to see consistency in those building blocks. And then I wanted to talk about the offensive line. I said there was 3 things in a previous video. Go back and watch them. There are 3 things that are offensive line, 3 C's for an offensive line to be good. And those 3 C's was continuity, confidence, and control. We said, Coach, well, we can't get caught. Now, the continuity has been a hard thing because we had people being out. But what's been good is our offensive line coach has made sure these guys work so much together that they're seamlessly having continuity. You're starting to see more continuity in the run game. Now, you're starting to see guys getting. So I said, first you had to have continuity. Continuity is especially on the run game. You got to be able to work. You got to be able to, your steps got to be in a line when both of y'all going to the zone read. The double team has got to be able, you got to be able to feel the pressure and get off. You got to be eyes up. You got to be able to feel that, hey, the center got to get off because the linebacker come this way. The guard got to get off because the linebacker going that way. It almost has to be a thing of feel between your linemen. And as the weeks goes by, the continuity gets better. I love the continuity I saw with these 4 backup linemen, but why? You say, well, Coach Marv, how it? Because it's better to go with 4 because these 4 have been practicing together all the time because they've been the number 2 offensive line. They already been working together. They already have a continuity with each other. So then they're good, and you're expecting them to be offensive. No, they got a continuity together. And now, and I'm going to go through this offensive line, then I'm gonna get to a point that we as fans got to understand that we can't kill this momentum that we got with some foolishness. The second thing of offensive line, I said, once you get that continuity, then you start to see offense standing around the huddle, and you could see the confidence in them. There go that word again, confidence. When an offensive line gets confidence, defense beware. If they got some talent and a little physicality, and they got continuity and they got confidence, man, no defensive line want to deal with that because they come at you at all angles, and and now you got to, they're like one, and you can't get to one. You can't get in one head because the other one is there. they're so solid. They don't even allow the defensive lineman to get into the other one's head because they're thinking of one. And that's how offensive line get. You can't talk to the offensive tackle and talk trash to him because the guard and the tight end and all those guys like, nah, man, don't worry about it. They take up for you. And so it's hard. That's what it is when you have confidence, continuity, and confidence. And then after you have that continuity and confidence, then what you start to get is control. Then when your offensive line starts to control the game, they control the line of scrimmage. They run the ball when they want to run the ball. They pass when they want to pass. You got some people in the box, they may not get 10 yards, but they can run and get 4 or 5. You blitz, they still complete pass. You're not going to get the quarterback. That's when the line is in control of the game. They're dictating to the defense. Makes no difference what you do. You may slow it down, but we're going to do what the hell we want to do. Load the box, we still going to run and get 3 yards or 4 yards. Make the box weak and blitz a linebacker, we're going to block that up and we still going to complete a pass. We're going to run things because we're in control of the game. When you get continuity and confidence, the next thing comes is control. And if an offensive line has these 3 C's, your quarterback is in heaven. Your running back is in heaven. Your offensive coordinator is in heaven. Doesn't mean every play gonna work, but you are in control of the game because they have these 3 things and they got the first 2 and now they control the line of scrimmage. That is what the 3 C's, and I'm starting to see that with the backups as well as the starters as a unit. Now, we talked about those things. If you go back into my videos, you'll see where I talked about all those things, the building blocks, the 3 C's, but I said something in my previous videos that I told everybody that is one of the biggest keys to us being a successful team and earning the right to win a championship. And in every team, to win big, to get into the playoffs, to win playoff games, to win a championship, in everything that you do in life, in everything that's happened in this whole world from the beginning of creation for us being here, there must be, and there's always going to be, sacrifice. There's always going to be sacrifice. There's going to be some players that's going to be on this team that may not get the contract they want right now, but they're going to have to sacrifice to play their best ball this season for us to win. There's going to be some players that we watching the 4 backup linemen, we watching them play, but we understand the other guys are just as good, and we got to let the coaches work that out, and for both of them to play and not pit guys against each other. Because when we start doing that in the outside, when we got 2 guys playing well, when we start doing that, we're ruining controversy. And when the controversy noise get outside, then we start to build controversy where sometimes the dissension comes in. And guys be starting to listen to what people say. It's already going to come from the media. Let's not enhance it. I understand we want competition, but let's not enhance some messiness. Because guess what? Our voice do matter. Just let these guys play. It's a luxury to have as many offensive linemen that we have. It's a luxury. And as you see with injuries, there may be an injury here and there. But let's not pit them against each other. And let's really evaluate and say if they're playing well. And if a guy miss a block, we don't say, oh, man, get another guy, get the other guy. No, because both guys are not going to play perfect. But we got a lot of guys playing well. And all of them have their own criteria and qualities. And you can utilize that to really mess up a defense because you get some guys in there to get used to one guy and he bring the next guy in there and he telling you. But they got to work together and they got to sacrifice for the greater good of the whole. And let me tell you something when you sacrifice for a championship team. Once you get there, you don't care nothing about that. You don't care nothing about what you sacrifice because it don't even feel like you sacrifice. But if you're worried about what you sacrifice for the greater good of the team, usually you don't never win nothing. Sacrifice. So when I say that this team is building consistency in our play, I like what we did. We kept the same ball rolling going into Jets. Makes no difference what the Jets record is. It was good to go on the road and do that. Now, it is even better to go on the road the second week in a row. This is a different Carolina team that we played last year. This is a team that's got some confidence. Remember that word. This is the team that's building their culture. And this is a team where we got to go in and we got to be a very consistent football team. They're going to try to beat us with physicality. I like that. That's when our youth got to step up. And we got to strike back. But we got to be consistent in our play. Consistency is going to be the key to what team is going to win a championship. What team can be a consistently good is the key to winning championships. You're starting to see a lot of teams go up and down. They look great 2 weeks and then they blow up like, you say, what happened? Buffalo last night losing to New England. Ooh, that's a division game, but still yet in Buffalo. Never thought that would happen. But this is consistency. Doesn't mean Buffalo a bad team. Doesn't mean Philadelphia a bad team because they lost to Denver. But the consistent play, and you got to understand that no team is gonna go without no marks against them. But we got to earn the right to be into the playoffs. I said at the beginning of the season that we go 3-2 at the beginning of the year when we talk about building a culture. I said that would be good. Well, we half a game under that. The first 5 games we 2-2-1. A half a game off what I said. But now we got to build a consistency. Regardless of the injuries, your team's identity is being set starting now. You realize in the first 5 games what you do well. You realize what you don't do well. You realize what makes you tick, what makes you rock. You starting to feel that. So now you got to be consistent with it and impose your will. Let's see if we can do that. Last point that I want to go, because I know some of my counterparts are out there on it. Let me see if I got this up. Now, I may have it, may not have it. We went on the road. We were on the road, and remember I had put out here the things that we need to do against on the road. Now, I talked about this against Philly because everybody said, well, we against Philly. Well, I talked about Chicago. It's the same gangster if you play in Carolina, a winless Jets team, and let's look at what we did on the road in this game. Defense was solid, very solid. That was a check mark. Time possession, I don't think we won time possession. I think we lost it in the second half because the Jets had a lot of long drives in the fourth quarter. Why? Because another reason why we didn't win time possession was because we got the big plays this time. We were winning time possession in some of these other games, but we got the explosive plays. That's the key. You get explosive plays, sometimes it may screw the time of possession. But we were closer than the first half. But that, I always say, stats with context give you the key, the true answer. Physicality, I think our physicality was awesome. Our offensive line was very physical. Our runners, our receivers broke, and we tackled with a very aggressive manner. Bland came to tackle. Even though slamming guys, when we started tackling in the secondary yesterday, we were making people go backwards, not forward. That's a key when you watch it. And it's not about how much you dominate that guy. It's what you put on film for the rest of the teams to see. Because you put on some physical play for the rest of the teams, guys start catching the ball. They don't want yak yards. They want to find a place to get on the ground. Turnovers won the turnover battle. Anytime we win a turnover battle, man, it's like golden for us. It's golden for us when we win a turnover battle. When we win a turnover battle, we damn near unbeatable. But we won the total. Explosive plays. We did a very good job in explosive plays. We had a 91-yard drive, and we only had 7 plays to go 91 yards. That means we got some explosive plays. Fournette was catching 40-yard pass. Those are explosive plays. A 50-some-yard run. Those are explosive plays. A 40-some-yard touchdown pass. Those are explosive plays. We didn't give up explosive plays in this game, and when we don't, we gave us some on the run game, but when we don't give up and we win it, our defense plays better, you see? If we make teams work against us, we are better off. Being a don't break means you can't give up explosive plays. So we did good in that. The run game commitment, we were committed. I would like to see we have been a little bit more committed to have some more carries, but when we get explosive plays, but we were committed to the run game. Special teams, we won field possession. Even our rookie, Blue, got a very good return. I think we did good in return game, even though we had our return guy out. So I think we did a very good. Now, we missed the extra point, but as we got punts and all that stuff was very good. So we did good in the special team. Got to do that on the road. Red zone, we won red zone. We dominated red zone. We was down, I think we was almost close to 100% in the red zone. For that first field goal, we was putting the ball in the end zone with it. And we did have a dog mindset because we really attacked the New York Jets. See, when you get most of these are check marks, these are where you get blowout victories. This is how you go on the road. I don't care if it's Kansas City or the Jets. You go on the road and win these get check marks in these 9 categories. I don't care who it is, Philadelphia, Kansas City, Super Bowl chance, whatever. You got a great chance of winning. An outstanding chance of winning. But you don't, I don't care who you playing against. If they got a lot of these check marks, you can be playing the loneliest team in the league, and you got a great chance of losing. So what we did on the road this past week, it showed that we did do those things. Again, it takes sacrifice, people. Sacrifice is what's going to be the key into us getting to where we need to go. And I'm going to say this. And there's another point that I've talked about in my previous shows. I know some of it looks shaky, but let's trust our coaching. This is a very difficult task that our coaching staff has. The staff had to come in here as a brand new staff and learn brand new players within a training camp and a year. It's hard. They're still trying to learn their players, their stress levels. Their players still trying to learn their coaches. It's just been 5 games. They're now getting a chance to really know their guys. And let's trust them through that part. We're not in a bad situation. It's a tough situation when you're trying to change a culture. It's not always easy. It's not always pretty. But we have to stay the course. Stay the course. Our offense, another thing I talked about that we are doing very good. A physical presence to our offense. don't you see that we doing more play action passes? Play action passes have made quarterbacks and put quarterbacks in the Hall of Fame. It slows pass rush down. It makes pass blocking much easier for your offensive line. It gives the offensive line to be able to control the game. It gets guys open. I always said, if you're able to run the football on a consistent basis, you can get just about anybody to play wide receiver and they'll be good. Now, I know I'm going to get in trouble with that. A lot of people going to say, "Oh, listen. Good teams that run the football, they'll probably need two good wide receivers. Then they can get somebody else to play third wide receiver." How many wide receivers Philadelphia got? How many Baltimore had for a long time? I mean, you look at a lot of teams that had a physical presence, they need a lot of wide receivers. Because it's not just run the ball, but the play action pass gets a lot of guys open that don't have to be great. So the physical presence is going to make Fournier, I can't say his name, a better way. Number 19. The physical presence is going to make Tolbert get better opportunities. The physical presence is going to get Pickens better opportunities. The physical presence is going to make Ferguson eat. The physical presence is going to make Lamb eat when he gets back. And now you get to a point, if we can win this game, then we can make sure Lamb comes back we can go another game and make sure he comes back and he's totally healthy so we don't have no. This is where you're doing. You're building culture about it. Now, some of these guys may not go a whole season. But if they got confidence, they can roll for a while. Last thing I want to talk to you about, I want to tell y'all thank you. I need y'all help on something. I need y'all help in sharing, subscribing if you have not subscribed to this channel, to follow me on Twitter, on X, to go into your Facebook account and click on and put in Coach Marv in there. And when you see my logo come up there, Coach Marv Real Talk, send me a request for a friend request on Facebook so I can add you to my Facebook account. Follow me on Instagram at Coach Marv. Follow me on TikTok at Coach Marv. Support the channel. If you want to support the channel, I know I have super chats now. I understand that probably the super chats, I can't see them yet. I still have to get through. I was going to work on that, but I was been in Dallas. But I am. But there are some stickers on there that you can send money to support the channel. You can send a super sticker, and that will support the channel. My Cash App is down about because I got to get the equipment. I'm about to put me a new equipment, a computer together, so I can get me a studio where I'm gonna have me another background, and we're growing this channel. We are at 655 subscribers. I may be more than that. I am 350 subscribers away from being 1,000 subscribers, and almost at the point of having the full monetization. I'll be at I'm almost at my watch hours, and I owe it all to you and all the people that's been into my chats, been following me. I know I've been putting up stuff, so I hadn't really got a chance to see some of the comments people have been putting up there. But and big time, I see you was into the show, but I hope you go back into my and if you go back into my playlist, this is what I would like for you to do. This is how you can help me. If you watching me and you go back into my playlist and I talked about the cultural blocks, you see something I talked about in this, and you go back in my playlist, you say, "Oh, I see that video where Coach Marv talked about that. I like that video." Pull that video up and reshare it. Pull that video and reshare it and say, "Hey, put a tag on it and say, Coach Marv talked about this weeks ago." Let people know that, hey, we're doing as the team is building blocks, this show is building blocks because I know about a team. It's a building team. Anytime somebody say building, you don't start at the roof. You start with the foundation, and it takes time to build anything of significance. Nothing is built just as fast without it. And sacrifice is a key to where we need to go to. So if you go onto my playlist and I got 100 videos out there. So with the watch shows and all that stuff, it's 100, but scroll through my playlist. And when you go to my playlist, go through some of these topics I talked about, culture, and all this about big plays and everything. Share those videos. Share them, watch them again, and then share them. Share them again and put a message out there. Say, hey man, this guy right here been telling us about this for a while. I'm not getting on to the free. I know somebody asked me about, say, Coach, were you happy with the safety play? Yeah, I saw more aggressive. Were you happy with the defensive back play on Sunday? Yes, I saw more aggression. Somebody other than Coach Marv was talking about that, because you've seen their aggression in their tackling this past week. So, like I said, I don't see things that other coaches don't see. Coaches see this. Sometimes our fan base don't see the really things that really makes football. It's still going to be the team that blocks the best, tackles the best, and makes less mistakes. It's going to win most of the time. You can't get around that in football, baby. You can talk about all the fast and all that stuff. It's still going to come down to blocking, tackling, and not making mistakes. You can't get around the physical component. Regardless of how much they talk about it, it's still the number one factor in this sport. And when you have a physical sport that has this many moving parts, that's what makes it the greatest team sport in sports. I think God shines down on football. Why he shines down on football? Because it's a lot of moving parts to accomplish a goal. And who knows better than all the moving parts that our Savior has to accomplish the goals that we do. He's a lot of moving parts. And when we put this football team together and we can build these cultural blocks, we can we can build some consistency, and then we'll be ready when it gets down to the last. And we'll have a great chance of being the last people standing. Everything I tell you, I don't guarantee no wins. You could do everything that I say and still lose. There's no guarantee in wins. But what is in coaching, your job is, you can't guarantee a guy with success, but you can guarantee the odds of him being successful, if he does it the right way, will be in his favor. And they'll be in his favor in a great way. Until the next time, go out and support my other countries. I think Lou is doing a film study of the breakdown of the game like he always do on Monday. Some of the other guys are doing some shows that they're talking about some things, man. They're going to talk about some things about running back. And I want to say right quick, I'm not so on going out and getting the pass rusher, because if the pass rusher ain't run stopping, just get the pass. I believe our pass rusher is okay. If we get solid with speed in the back end and physicality, I think we got enough guys to get to the quarterback. We had 5 sacks last week, and I think it will grow if we continue to play tight and physical on the back end. The other thing is, I agree with the guys about running back. I don't know if we need to go and get a running back that's going to take over the weather, but I'm going to say again, Cowboy Nation, Cowboy Nation, if you want to go somewhere, let's go out here and get Tony Pollard. If he's on the way, if they can get him out of Tennessee because they need a draft pick, let's go get Tony Pollard. Key to this is, I know the Cowboys will accept it back because he gave them great things. He knows the lay of the land. He doesn't have to adjust to the city. That's a key when you bring a new guy in. He don't have to adjust. He knows the plays. He knows the coaching staff. They worked with him before, and he knows how to share a backfield. And he's a playmaker. And he's tough. That's the guy that you need to go. I'm telling you, you put Tony Pollard with this guy, you're going to be very good with this backfield. And then you can bring him along blue the way you need to bring him along if he has some material. And he still, listen, we just want Blue to make a couple of plays. He's not going to be a 500. But if we can get his speed just to make a play or two, and get some confidence, he may not be all right, but this is what you do with rookies. You're not asking him to be a workhorse. You just ask him to make a play or two. That's what we want. But if Tony Pollard is out there to get, let's go get him. Mark me on this one. Just like I told you about safety, just like I told you about Jalen Ramsey, I'm telling you, that will be the power move. Until next time, man, I appreciate you, B. Thank you for coming in, man. Thank you so much, man, for all you do on Twitter, man, and sharing my posts, man. I really appreciate this guy right here. This guy does a lot of sharing my stuff, man, on Twitter and supporting me. Man, I really appreciate you. All these other people that's in this chat. I'm not just pointing out this one person. There's a lot of people that's in this chat, man, that do a lot to support me and be out here. Leon, he supports me, man. Quality running backs, man. All these people, man, do a lot to come out and support me in my endeavors, man. And listen, man, I'm nowhere without y'all guys out here supporting me and hanging with me, man, and being there for me and really pouring into me. Just like I poured into other people. And I say this, man, I hate to leave you this, man. I've been saying I want to leave a couple times, but when God puts something on my heart, I got to share it. Because when I hear it, it's our job to share what we hear because he brought it to us to help us, but we got to pay it forward. What you give out, if what you want, you got to give that out. Where we have a mistake, what you give out is what you're going to get. Now, where we get a mistake is, we think, where we get confused is, we think when we give out something to someone or something, we think we're supposed to get it back from them. We may get it back from there, but we may get it back from someplace else. And we may not get in the same measure. We may say, we might need some understanding. We may give it in a relationship. We may not get it back from that person. We may not get it back from another relationship, but we might get understanding on our job when somebody gives us a break. See what I'm saying? You're going to get that good blessing back, but it may not be in the form or from the person or situation that you think it should come from. But what you give out is what you're going to get back. So give out good karma. Give out good blessings. Give out good vibes. Treat people right. Give that. It's coming back. And you're going to grant it, and you're going to be rewarded with it. And it's going to come back in the place that you really, really need it. Until next time, people, I love everybody. Salute. I'm out.